Rise Up Radio. Our mission is simple.
To connect,
Inspire.
impact,
Transform.
we will connect with our city's people and businesses.
Inspire all of us to achieve our dreams.
Transform the city by focusing on the resilience of our people.
And positively impact all who live and work here.
Rise Up believes our city is a city on the rise.
And all of us need to broadcast just how truly amazing this city is.
Welcome to the show. This is Tom Chester, your host for Business Innovators Radio and Rise Up Radio. We are in Fort Worth, Texas today, talking with our featured guest, Doc Thompson. Doc is the director at MOJO 5.0 and a national show host of Doc Thompson's Daily Mojo and the Doc Thompson Food Show on Spoony Radio. We're here today to talk about MOJO's recent events. It was a Black Friday event, 12-hour marathon that was held November the 23rd, 2018. And this segment was called Building America One Company at a Time. And then we want to talk about MOJO's plans to take its show on the road in 2019. Welcome to the show, Doc.
Hey, Tom. Thanks so much, buddy.
Yeah, it's great to have you today. I know you had a very busy day already. And before we start talking about MOJO and Spoony, and including the Black Friday event, and the 2019 tour, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, well, I have been fired by the greatest radio stations in America over the course of 30 years. It's a long, storied career that is a sad story. And finally, I decided, it's time I work for myself and try to come up with my own platform. Now, honestly, I've worked all over the country at some of the best radio stations, the 50,000-watt WRVA in Richmond, Virginia, 700 WLW, Magic 105.7 in Cleveland, and found myself over the course of years as a music doc segueing into doing talk radio. And just loved it because it was an opportunity to entertain in different ways. And I finally decided to launch my own platforms. One of them is a libertarian conservative talk platform. That's MOJO 5.0.com. And the second one is a 24-hour live stream of food talk, and that's Spoony.com. And we figure it gives us kind of a 1-2 punch of the things that we really appreciate. The libertarian conservative angle of life and pro-business. And then food talk because I'm a foodie, and it's also pretty pro-business. So we love that as well.
You have a whole line of great personalities, and can you tell me a little bit about all their fantastic backgrounds? And, I'm really interested in Spoony Radio. All of us like food. And, basically, what's the goal for Spoony?
Yeah, so a lot of the people I work with, I don't know very well. No, I'm kidding. Some of the people I know very well, some I know kind of well. But now we have set up a pretty good lineup across the board. So on my show in the morning on MOJO, first of all, Brad Staggs, he's been in the radio business, a broadcaster television for 35, 40 years. He worked at the Nashville Network. He's been a pitch man. He's known to a lot of people. You'd recognize his face or voice, even if you don't know his name. And he's just amazing on the air. And then our management team, there's a lady who used to work at the Food Network and HGTV as well. Her name is Beth Knott. I've got the Conservative Cartel with me on the air. That's Ron Phillips and Matt Locke. And they have long broadcast histories that are pretty interesting as well. Matt Locke used to host a show on WOWO WOWO in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is a huge station. And a guy by the name of Tom Trost, he's on our management team as well. He's been in sales for a number of years. And also Chef Patrick Mosier is on our team, and he also heads up our Spoony.com, which is the 24-hour food talk.
Wow, that is a list. Let me tell you right now. I know I love these guys.
Yeah, that doesn't even.
Phillips, right? Your executive producer.
Yep. Yeah.
We don't want Ron to say we left him out. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. In fact, we've got a bunch of other personalities on the air as well. It'd take too long to go through all of them, but yeah, those are the core players right now.
Wow. So you guys have really done this. Since MOJO 50 has been launched, how is your approach working right now?
Well, we're taking a very different approach to everything. The media world has changed much more significantly than most media people realize. I mean, some of the big names, they don't realize what's shifted out there. We've seen a generational shift. We knew millennials would make a much greater impact just, as time went on, as they joined the workforce. And we've seen them join, our different teams and our different jobs. But I don't think that anybody really stopped to notice and count how many of them there are until you look around your office and you say, wait a minute, it is primarily in a lot of offices millennials out there, and they have a different approach and needs and wants when it comes to media. And then with the way we communicate, we are, part of it's generational and part of it's just the nature of things. We now communicate in a different way. We're much more edgy. We use more what people used to call profanity, and it's just accepted. We see headlines that use terms and phrases that we would have never used before, and it's just now acceptable. So our approach is, if you want to remain young and relevant, you've got to, follow those demographic guidelines and make sure that you target people that are a little bit younger. You don't have to give up all your values, but you have to communicate so you're reaching them as well. Now, I'm Generation X, and Generation X is fine with a lot of that stuff. It's just, a slight change in the way we communicate. So our approach on MOJO, being very libertarian and young, we lead with humor, and we also talk pretty young. If you're older, you may get a little turned off by it at times. But one of the things I've tried to explain to people that are ideologically inclined to follow us, that they like, the value of what we're doing, I explain that we know it has to be a gateway. You're not going to go to the average young person, 16, 17, and say, hey, let me tell you about Jesus and the 17th Amendment and also the alternative minimum tax. They don't care. Now, if you explain how that matters to them, each one of them, but you're never going to have that conversation unless you meet them on their turf, so to speak. So we lead with humor and we joke around, and then they get our values. And then once we bring them into the store, then we can push them down the line and they can learn more stuff. So that's kind of our approach. We've also taken a different approach formatically. We play very few commercials. Almost all of our commercials are done live. So each hour on the air, you get 55, 56 minutes of content that is not a commercial. Our commercials are done live because recorded commercials just don't work anymore. So if you listen to traditional terrestrial broadcast radio, you're still getting, during morning and afternoon drives, 30 minutes an hour of content. We give you almost double that.
Wow, that is different. That is extremely different. Yeah, we all kind of tune out the commercials. You know what I mean? Or that's why people get on Cyrus and they don't listen to commercials at all. But you guys have really geared this thing up for a whole new generation. And, I'm one of the old school people. So, I need to start learning how to talk young, huh?
Most of it is the other thing, the younger generation, for the millennials, they've gotten a lot of criticism from the older generations, and some of it is deserved. Some of it is not. I mean, the things that they know and do were likely programmed because of people like us, the older generation. But the thing that they got right that I don't think we've given them credit for is they have prioritized, meaning we go, they're not buying houses, they're not doing all this traditional stuff, and we criticize it. Well, that's because they knew they didn't have, as a generation, the same amount of money as Americans past. So they prioritized and said, I like technology, so my phone matters more than having a car. And they found ways around that. So they've been innovative too. Now, I think there's some things they need to do different as well. So one of the other really good things about the millennials, and to your point about, learning to communicate, is they really want authentic. They value experience and real. Now, some of them don't realize they've been shammed and they think things are real that are not. But if you can be real and honest and open and transparent, something that older generations have always wanted, you're going to be in much better shape. And if you can learn to take that, you're in.
Yeah, and I've learned to take that, So that's the fun part about it. Yeah, fake it, man. I can't look the way I act and get along in this generation. Anyway, it's kind of interesting what you guys did recently with that 12-hour marathon. Now, let me tell you, that was probably a long time for you guys. But I want to talk about the mission of that, which is building America one company at a time. What did that really mean for you guys?
Well, I realized something else recently when it comes to traditional competition, the way we used to view competition. I have a burger joint, you have a burger joint, and we are fierce competitors or some other industry. That doesn't exist anymore the same way. We realized that it's not about you grabbing a bigger piece of the pie or me grabbing. If I have a bigger piece, that means you've got a smaller piece. We just bake more pies. The world is filled with opportunities to grow all of it beyond. So competition isn't the same way. So we give away free commercials. It's something we're passionate about because we truly want to help businesses. And we know cutting through now is one of the hardest things. And it's easier than ever to start a business online, to sell people around the world. All business forms and contracts are all online. It's all easy except the marketing because so many people have businesses. So we want to help people. We say, let's give people free commercials. And we do that on a regular basis. And we don't have to worry about the competition or anything like that because ultimately it will benefit us. The rising tide floats all boats. And at least we have the satisfaction of knowing we're living our values, that we're helping people. So our 12-hour marathon, I've done that on Black Friday's past for a couple of hours a day, but this year we went big and we did 12 hours. It was immensely successful. So 6A to 6P, we gave person after person, business after business, just free commercials. We talked about their businesses. And to hear after the fact the next couple of days, they're like, oh my gosh, I had so many hits to my website and I sold so much stuff and that's going to help us along, is just good for everybody.
Yeah. Small businesses really do need to have a voice out there, and they are caught up in all the other mixes with these large corporations. But, you guys have shown a lot of passion about helping these small businesses. Why is that passion with you guys so strong?
Because I recognize that it's the foundation of America. It really is people going out and doing. We boiled it down to two things. The entrepreneurial spirit is dreaming and doing. There is nothing more American than those two things, Tom. I am so passionate about it. To dream, we all drive down the street, and America's been a place where you can dream big because dreams can come true. And you let your mind wander. The next step is Americans and their drive and determination and their dogged determination and the hours we put in. We work longer and harder than most people around the globe. And that's the corner. That's what's made us successful. My parents had small businesses when I was growing up. And, hundreds of years ago, everybody had a small business. You were a farmer. We didn't work for other people. I believe that pendulum is swinging back a little bit. And with the gig economy, they call it, and with things like AI and the fear that there's going to be more automation, I think we're all going to be farmers, at least to some extent again. We're going to have to be more self-sufficient. And I just love it. I love to see when it helps people and they get that extra little boost, and it starts paying off for them. Selfishly, Tom, I get to come in on the end of their struggle where they've done all the hard work and I get to push that little button, say that thing, put them on the air and see it all unfold for them.
That is probably one of the most generous feelings, best feelings that you and I both have together in common, because I really am passionate about helping businesses get their message out there. Media and marketing has changed, as you said. It's not the same old thing. So right now we have to be more creative and keep to pace what's actually the changes that are going on out there. And small businesses don't always have that time to keep up with that trend. So it's your job, it's my job to make sure that happens. Do you feel that way?
I absolutely do. In fact, I saw a story just in the news the last couple of days. I think it was a cotton farmer. I could be wrong about the crop, but it was a farmer who I think had cancer and he couldn't bring his crop in. And his neighbor or neighbors all went and harvested his crop for him on his behalf. And I thought, you know what? That's not only great. That's America. We used to build barns for people. Tom, you and I would get together and say, we got a neighbor that's coming in and he needs a barn. We'd all do the barn raising, make a party out of it. We help him out. And a year down the road, when I broke my leg, he's going to help me bring in my crop. That's America too.
That is the attitude that we had years ago. And for even old people like myself, we still have that want to help attitude, so that you're wanting to actually see somebody get ahead, help them get ahead, and learn from even some of the things that helped you get ahead. So, that's kind of out there doing this, and that's one very interesting point that I think both of us have in common. You guys are fixing to do something that I think is going to be probably a tour in 2019, I think maybe in May. Is it 50 days, 50 states?
Yeah, Tom. Yeah. I talking about dreaming big. I set these lofty goals, and fortunately, the people that I've surrounded myself with are either just as crazy or let me have my fun. 12 hours on the air straight was a pretty grueling schedule. Some of the other things we've done, we're going to do 50 days in 50 states. We're going to do 50 states, 50 days. We're going to broadcast from every state, one a day, and head to the next state. Now, to put it into perspective, bands don't even do this when they're touring. When we talked to the guy who we're renting the bus from, he said, okay, so you're going to do 50 days, so let me put you down for 65 days. And I go, wait, what are you talking about? He goes, well, you need some days off. And I said, I'm not taking days off. He goes, you got to have days off. I said, no, we're doing 50 states in 50 days. He goes, nobody does that. He goes, even bands. He says, the only people who do that are speed metal bands from Sweden, and they only do a couple of weeks without a day off. He goes, this is going to be huge. And I said, it's worth it. It's for veterans. So the whole point of this, our MOJO 5.0 tour, so that's 50 states in 50 days tour, is to benefit veterans. Veterans throughout the history of America, we have never truly taken care of them. The scandals at the VA continue today, and we're going to expose some more of those. So our point is twofold. We're going to raise a bunch of money, hopefully a couple of hundred, maybe a couple $100,000, maybe $500,000. And we're also going to continue to talk about each one of those veterans that suffer. There's a lot of them with PTSD and other ailments that the Veterans Administration is not is not addressing, and we're going to hold them accountable. I no longer want my name attached to that monstrosity that is the Veterans Administration. They're doing that in my name, Tom, and in your name, and in the name of every other American. They're failing. They're using our tax dollars to do it, and we're going to stand up to them, and we're going to kick off this coming Memorial Day.
Well, that is fantastic. We honor our vets. We love our vets and every era of our vets. And right now, you're absolutely right. We're doing them a very big disservice. And by you guys going out there and getting this message out, raising money, and, basically, I think y'all are going to get sponsors for this as well. So can I plug you a little bit for that? So maybe that'd be a huge help. So one of the things we're doing with the tour, and this shows our commitment to accountability and transparency, like very few media outlets, is we're telling you what we're raising, but we're also telling you what we're taking in. So everything we bring in, we're going to give 50% right off the top. That's gross before we pay any of our bills to veterans. So we're asking for a couple of title sponsors that'll be about $75,000 each. You'll put you on the side of the bus. That includes an advertising schedule. We do live commercials throughout most of next year. All of that, the tour stops, everything else, for about $75,000. But half of that write-off goes to veterans charities, and we're picking about a half dozen of them. And then of the remaining amount that that is not a tax write-off, we pay our bills out of that. So when we walk away, we're not going to walk away with $14 million and veterans $100,000. The veterans are going to make far more than we are, and that's what we're looking for here. And then we have tour sponsors as far as the stops go, because we need 50 places to broadcast from. So if you have a local business, a restaurant, a car dealership, we'll do the show from there, and it's going to be, most of the day. We come down, bring the bus in, set up the circus, so to speak, and broadcast. It's around $3,000 for each one of those. And again, 50% right off the top goes as a tax write-off to veterans charities. So if anybody can offer us any help, the tentative tour stops, the cities in each one of those states, and those can be adjusted, are all available at our website. All you have to do is go to MOJO5050tour.com, and the 50 again, 50 is 50-50. It's 50 states in 50 days. So MOJO5050tour.com. Well, that's great. So whoever's out there listening and they'd like to be a part of this fantastic cause, this is Tom Chester saying, hey, I recommend these guys. This is something that we need out there more than a lot of other things that we have. But, Doc, I really have. It amazes me how much stuff you guys do. And you've broken the mold. You've reached out further than other people have reached out. And I'm wishing you all the success in the world in your endeavors. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. One more thing about the tour, by the way, what we're bringing in, just to give you an idea of the expense and the undertaking for this. It costs about six figures, about $100,000 just to rent the bus for the 50 days, and we're doing it on the cheap as well. So just so you understand the amount of money that we have to bring in just to bring in a couple $100,000 for the veterans. So yeah, the other thing I want to say is just who we are as a people. I mean, we make our mistakes and we fail as well, but we're really trying to raise a high bar for the future of media. And I think we're being pretty shrewd about it. If we can get just a little bit of support, additional support, and we're growing pretty well, but if we can keep this up over the next couple of months, we are setting the future of something very good. We battle based on our ideas and values with people that do not think like us, but we're respectful on the air to people we interview, and we try to find that common ground. But Tom, we offer to people, come and laugh at us. Not even with us. Go ahead and laugh at us at times too. Because when we break down those barriers and give people permission in the right time and place without being vicious or mean to laugh at us, and that opens up friendship and opportunity and understanding. You tear it down, and hopefully other people then say, hey, it's okay to mock the silly stuff I do. We're all goofy. We're all a little weird. That's our future. That's what America's about in the future, and that's what we've lost.
Hey, I agree with you 100%. MOJO is really one of those, it's a fun, upbeat, live on the air broadcast, and it represents really the best of America. That's hosted by you. It's got Brad, it's got Matt, it's got producer Ron, and we also talked about Chef Patrick, but we didn't go into what really Spoony is about. Can you talk to me about that? Because Spoony's another brainchild that I think is going to do extremely well.
Yep, both of our platforms are 24-hour live streams, and then all the content is available in podcast later on. But Spoony is 24-hour, 7 days a week, food talk and all things that touch it. So it's health and beauty and nutrition, but also agriculture, and then business because of restaurants and cooking and recipes and anything you can dream of that has to do with food is the center focus. Well, when I first tell people it's 24-hour food talk, they go, food on the radio? And I say, well, there's a video component and everything else. But I explain to them then that I've done this for years. And food talk, you don't have to have pictures. right? You can, and once I explain all the opportunities and things it touches from a business and a listener standpoint, all of a sudden I see the light bulb go off and they go, oh, and I say, nobody's ever done this before. I think because they started with that misconception about, food on the radio, and then it all opens up. So this is brand new. And Chef Patrick, he's great. He doesn't have a history in radio, but he's worked with some of the finest chefs, and he has a great resume and pedigree that we're having a lot of fun with it, and we can go in so many different directions. The sky's the limit. We're branding something brand new and formatting something brand new. This, if we do this right, will dwarf everything else we do in the future. It will be huge. It's Spoony.com, like spoon with a Y at the end, and it's food and fun. And if you're interested in content, sponsorship, and free commercials, all you have to do is reach us at Spoony.com.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good. We all like food, don't we?
And you know what? It's also cultural, Tom. It's at the center of all of our histories and emotions as children and culture. If you want to understand and get along with people that aren't like you, sit down and have their food. Because I got to tell you, even if you don't like people or think you don't like them based on their race or religion or something, go ahead and share their food. Oh, you're going to give that up real quick then.
Absolutely. You guys have got a tremendous audience out there. I think your Mojo's up to way over 90,000 weekly listeners across your platforms. I mean, that's fantastic. And Spoony is also one of those. They reached up there too. So I think when I looked at them, they were also, let me think, over 80,000 across the platform. That
may be right. I'm trying to remember the exact numbers on Spoony. I haven't checked recently, but yeah, it's growing. It's really well because we're on the Dash platform as well. We'll be on iHeartRadio. We'll be live streaming on iHeartRadio very soon. We live stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channel, as well as our own website, and then our podcasts are everywhere. So yeah, when you add up all of those numbers and where we're going with this in the future, it's just pretty big.
It really is. And that's what you tell advertisers out there. Hey, we got a good listening base. They're interested in what we're talking about. How would you like to tap into that? I mean, that's just the way we do things. I really appreciate this time that you've shared with me. Can you go over once again how to get a hold of you and how to get a hold of Mojo or Spoony and different websites, phone numbers, whatever you got to share with people so they can reach out to you?
So any way you want to reach us, any of the things we've talked about, the tour, and we've given you a bunch of different websites and stuff, it can all be found at the two websites for the two channels. And each one you can reach me through each one eventually. It is Spoony.com, that's spoon with a Y, Spoony.com, that's Spoony.com, or MOJO5.0.com, MOJO 5.0, and pretty much any way you spell it, it'll come up. MOJO5.0.com. You go to each one and you can find me somewhere, through something on there, information about the tour, everything else we have coming up. Go to each one and you can contact us and help out or be a part of it if you like.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring that up, because you've got two different opportunities here, and I know people are going to really, really latch on to both or one or the other, and I'm like, okay. It's caught my attention, and that's why we're here today talking to you. And I've really enjoyed this time that we spent together. And once again, if you want to get a hold of Doc, and I believe you have an 800 number, right? Is that 800-804-9682?
Yep, that's right.
Hey, I got it right, man. I'm doing pretty good. Well, I really look forward to hearing more about you guys and seeing you out there more often. Thank goodness you have got some great causes. I mean, you're reaching out to the younger generation. You got small businesses at the forefront, and then you're out trumping that with supporting our veterans. And those are absolutely top-notch ventures that you guys are taking on. So wish you all the best luck in the world. And maybe, hey, I might jump on one of those city tours for you. That would
come on the bus. Get on. I can't.
50 days, 50 states. All you guys. I think, honestly, you need to go get you some more buses. Let's get a caravan out there, man. Spoony comes to town. I appreciate your time today, and I know you got a busy schedule.
Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to say thank you, and we always like to talk about, at the end of each close of a broadcast, that each and every one of us, you, me, every one of us can really make a difference in our world, in our community, and in the lives of people that live and work in our city. And that's basically the whole crux of what we are doing here. And that's why I appreciate and thanks once again to Doc Thompson. And this is Tom Chesser, Rise Up Radio, Business Innovators Radio, saying have a great day.
Thank you for listening, and remember,
by working together, we can make a difference in our city.